Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to be talking about prepositions with cities and countries. So first we'll be talking about cities, just because that's pretty quick and pretty basic. Then we'll be talking about countries and continents, so we're going to talk about the difference between a masculine one and a feminine one. We'll be going over plural countries, and then going to or being in one, and then finally coming from one, because those are a little differently. So first off, cities. So this is going to be about going to or being in a city. So the preposition that you're going to use is a with an accent, and there are no exceptions to this. So if you want to say, for example, I live in Paris, j'habite à Paris. The second example is I spent a week in Rennes. So j'ai passé une semaine à Rennes. And cities are always going to be feminine, so that's why you're always going to use a when you talk about going to or being in one. So next we're talking about coming from a city. The preposition for that is going to be de. So you have je viens de Nantes and je suis revenu de Bordeaux. So I am from Nantes and I came back from Bordeaux. So whenever you have from, you're going to be using de. And again, you want to treat any city as being feminine. So now, before we talk about how to do it with countries, we need to differentiate between masculine and feminine. So whenever you're writing a sentence, you must know if the country or continent is either masculine or feminine. So masculine country or continent is one that ends with a consonant. And there is one exception to that, and that's Mexico, le Mexique. You can see that there is a vowel, the letter E at the end, and although that's there, it's still going to be a masculine country. So prepositions that are associated with this would be o, do, de apostrophe, or o, which is plural. And then, so for feminine, if you have a country that ends with the letter E, so a vowel, or ES, that's always going to be feminine. So you have un, de apostrophe again, and the plural form is de. So now we can talk about going to or being in a country. So again, before writing, you need to know whether or not your country is either masculine or feminine. And so for going to or being in a country or continent, the three options you have for prepositions are o, and on. And the one with X, the second one, that is the plural one. So I have some examples written here. The first one, I traveled to France. J'ai voyagé en France. And then, are you going to the United States? And so United States is plural. So you have tu vas aux États-Unis. And just a quick little tip here, because the E in état is a vowel, you're going to pronounce the ending of the previous word. So if it were a consonant, you would just say O, but because you have E, you're going to say aux États-Unis. That's just a little thing to remember. And then the third example is I'm going to Morocco. Je vais au Maroc. So now we can talk about coming from a country or a continent. So again, as I said before, you need to know whether or not the country is masculine or feminine. And there are four prepositions that you have to choose from, and you have de, du, de, and de apostrophe. So I would like to return to the Philippines. Je voudrais rentrer des Philippines, because Philippines is plural. And then the second example is they're from France. Ils sont de France. And France is singular, so you're going to use de. And then I'm from Japan. Je viens du Japon. And Japan in French is masculine and singular. That's why you have du. And then the last example is I am not from Australia. Je ne viens pas d'Australie. And because you have the letter A, which is a vowel, you have to do it with an apostrophe. So you have de apostrophe. And that's the end of it. So we went over the difference between masculine and feminine countries, as well as how to do that, and then the same thing in terms of cities.